If you've recently made the wrong purchase of makeup the last time you were in a Target or Tesco's, your morning beauty routine likely connects you to one of history's most disturbing fortunes. Billions built on Nazi collaboration and Holocaust profits. You see, L'Oréal's Bettencourt dynasty represents everything glamorous about French luxury. Yet beneath the corporate elegance lies a foundation built on wartime collaboration with history's most evil regime. And their carefully curated image nearly survived intact until an elderly heiress's friendship with a charming photographer triggered France's most explosive political scandal. The relationship cost her over €1 billion in gifts while exposing a web of corruption that entangled presidents, cabinet ministers, and Switzerland's most secretive banks. But secret recordings captured not just evidence of systematic financial exploitation, but conversations revealing how Nazi collaboration money had been successfully laundered through decades of lipstick sales and beauty campaigns. And the same fortune that funded presidential campaigns and purchased political influence had originally grown through profits from supplying paint to German submarines and supporting fascist terrorism. In today's episode of Old Money Luxury, we share the sordid tale of how some family secrets are seen as being worth $44 billion, enough wealth to buy silence, manipulate justice, and rewrite history itself. Pascal Bonnefoy had polished silver and served champagne for 20 years before he decided to become France's most famous eavesdropper. The Bettencourt butler's pocket-sized tape recorder captured 21 hours of conversations that would expose how Europe's richest woman, Liliane Bettencourt, had gifted approximately €1 billion to François-Marie Banier, a gay photographer young enough to be her son and charming enough to convince her he deserved it. The inventory of generosity defied belief. Paintings by Matisse, Mondrian, and Picasso changed hands like birthday cards, while cash payments exceeding €160 million flowed alongside life insurance policies and a private island in the Seychelles. At one delirious point, the L'Oréal heiress, worth $44 billion, had even designated Banier as her sole heir. Banier defended his windfall with remarkable audacity. "Don't even think about it. These are gifts, which I refused for a long time. They are gifts from a woman whose mind is completely lucid." Such protestations might have continued indefinitely had Bonnefoy not pressed record in 2010. The butler's motivations seemed noble at first. He testified that he could not accept the unacceptable after witnessing what he described as abuse. According to Bonnefoy, the photographer called his elderly benefactor a B-word and demonstrated his contempt by urinating on her plants, though whether this qualified as performance art or simple cruelty remained unclear. Yet the tapes contained revelations that transcended domestic dysfunction. Money laundering, tax evasion, and influence peddling at the highest levels of French politics spilled from the recordings like vintage wine from a shattered cellar. Conservative politicians allegedly visited the Neuilly-sur-Seine mansion to collect envelopes stuffed with cash. Former accountant Claire Thibault claimed Eric Woerth received €150,000 for Nicolas Sarkozy's 2007 presidential campaign, while Woerth served as party treasurer. More curious still, Bettencourt had received a €30 million tax rebate during Woerth's tenure as budget minister. The photographer's ascent began in 1987 when he arrived to shoot Liliane for Egoist magazine. François-Marie Banier had previously charmed Salvador Dali and Johnny Depp, but the Bettencourt assignment would prove his masterpiece, not of photography, but of wealth extraction. Their relationship endured for over 2 decades, a testament to either true friendship or world-class manipulation. Behind this sordid saga of geriatric infatuation and political rot lurked an even uglier truth. The fortune that funded Banier's island paradise and Sarkozy's campaign had origins that would horrify even those accustomed to French scandals. For Liliane Bettencourt's billions grew from soil fertilized by fascism and watered with the blood of Holocaust victims. L'Oréal sells beauty, but its founder, Eugene Schueller, sold something far uglier: his soul to the Nazi cause. The son of Alsatian pastry shop owners who rose before dawn to help prepare croissants had transformed from ambitious chemist into Hitler's eager acolyte, a metamorphosis as dramatic as the hair transformations his products promised. Born in 1881, Schuler graduated first in his class from the Institute of Applied Chemistry in 1904, seeming destined for a respectable career as a university researcher. That changed in 1907 when a barbershop owner asked him to develop synthetic hair dye. Working in his kitchen laboratory, testing products on his own hair, Schuler created the first safe hair coloring using paraphenyldiamine, an innovation that would build an empire and fund fascism. By the 1930s, the man who had once manufactured hair dye at night while selling it to hairdressers by day had evolved into something monstrous. La Cagoule, the Hood, received Schuler's financial backing and used L'Oréal offices for their meetings as they plotted to overthrow France's Popular Front government. This wasn't casual sympathy, but active participation in terrorism. The Comité d'Action Révolutionnaire murdered 2 Italian socialist refugees in June 1937, firebombed 6 synagogues, smuggled weapons to Spanish fascists, and planned a coup for November 1937. Schuler's 1941 book, La Révolution de l'économie, revealed the depth of his Nazi envy. I know full well that we don't have the chance that the Nazis did, coming to power in 1933. We don't have the gift that the Germans had. We don't have the faith of National Socialism. We don't have the dynamism of a Hitler pushing the world. He also argued that France must rip from men's hearts the childish concepts of liberty, equality, and even fraternity, because they lead to disaster. Such devotion paid spectacular dividends during the occupation. Between 1940 and 1944, L'Oréal sales nearly quadrupled, while Schuler's personal income increased tenfold from 1940 to 1943. The company supplied paint to the Nazi war machine for camouflaging battleships and U-boats, generating profits that would build the post-war cosmetics empire. This growth came through collaboration with SS intelligence officer Helmut Knochen, who oversaw Jewish deportations to concentration camps and executed resistance fighters. After the war, Knochen specifically identified Schuler as one of his voluntary collaborators. Liberation brought Schuler before the Court of Justice in 1944 on collaboration charges. His acquittal in 1946 relied on testimony claiming he had sheltered Jews and funded the resistance, convenient contradictions that allowed the pastry shop owner's son to escape the fate of less wealthy collaborators. Post-war L'Oréal became a refuge for former fascists. Jacques Corrèze, who had helped the Gestapo evict Jews from their homes, rose to run American operations until Nazi hunter Serge Klarsfeld exposed him in 1991. When Liliane inherited this empire in 1957, she received a fortune built on fascist ideology and Holocaust collaboration, wealth that had multiplied precisely because her father chose to paint Nazi U-boats instead of resisting evil. Poetry discussions at journalist Pierre Lazareff's home in 1969 allegedly marked the first encounter between François-Marie Banier and the Bettencourts, though this origin story carries the whiff of mythology crafted for society pages. The relationship that would captivate France truly began when Egoist magazine, a title that proved prophetic, commissioned the 40-year-old photographer to shoot Liliane Bettencourt alongside Federico Fellini in 1987. Banier arrived at the assignment carrying credentials that money couldn't buy. At 16, Salvador Dali had sent his car to bring young François-Marie to the Hotel Meurice for art discussions. At 19, he had gained patronage from heiress Marie-Laure de Noailles. His circle eventually included everyone from Pablo Picasso to Johnny Depp, whose daughter Lily Rose would call him godfather. During their photo session, Banier deployed calculated rudeness, ordering France's richest woman to change clothes, barking instructions, treating her like any other subject rather than a $40 billion princess. Tom Sankton, former Paris bureau chief for Time magazine, understood the strategy. She was used to being kowtowed to, and this was a breath of fresh air. The elderly heiress, despite controlling the world's largest cosmetics empire, lived in what observers described as depression and boredom, trapped in a constrained, confined, codified, bourgeois life. Her relationship with daughter Françoise had grown arctic. The intellectual young woman preferred books and piano to her mother's glittering social world, creating a void that Banier would expertly fill. The photographer offered escape, excitement, and most importantly, attention from someone who treated her as a woman rather than a walking bank account, a platonic love affair that would cost more than most nations' GDP. Gifts began modestly in 1996 with transfers of real estate company shares, testing the waters of generosity. By 2001, restraint had vanished like morning mist. Bettencourt formally donated the bare ownership of 12 masterpieces valued at 20 million euros. A Picasso, Nature la Guitare, a Matisse, Grand Nu, plus works by Mondrian, Man Ray, and de Chirico, paintings that would remain in her Neuilly mansion but belonged to Banier upon her death. 2003 witnessed an explosion of generosity. 250 million euros in gifts, coinciding suspiciously with Bettencourt's hospital stay, after which she made Banier beneficiary of a life insurance policy worth 253 million euros. The pattern continued relentlessly: 6 million in 2004, 56 million in 2005. Another 250 million in 2006, when she modified another life insurance contract worth 262 million euros, creating a paper trail of obsession. André Bettencourt's death in 2007 removed the last barrier between his wife and her photographer, leaving her without anyone to warn her or watch out for her, as butler Pascal Bonnefoy later testified. That same year, Françoise Bettencourt-Myers finally grasped the hemorrhaging of her inheritance. Estimates ranged from 990 million to over 1 billion euros, including those life insurance policies, the art collection, substantial cash transfers, and a private island in the Seychelles. When asked why she had given €1 billion to a society photographer, Liliane Bettencourt offered an answer of stunning simplicity: because he asked for it. On December 19, 2007, Françoise struck back, filing criminal charges that would transform a private obsession into public scandal. "20 years of loyal service meant nothing when Pascal Bonnefoy watched predators circle his elderly employer like wolves around a limping deer. The 52-year-old butler had joined the Bettencourt household in 1989, witnessing 2 decades of family dynamics before André Bettencourt's death in 2007 changed everything. Without her husband's protection, Liliane Bettencourt fell deeper under the influence of advisors Bonnefoy considered parasitic, particularly wealth manager Patrice de Maistre and the ever-present François-Marie Banier. The butler compared his moral dilemma to witnessing a car accident and not stopping to help, though his lawyer later revealed a more visceral motivation. De Maistre and Banier wanted him out, and self-preservation sharpened his conscience. Between May 2009 and May 2010, the threatened servant transformed into France's most unlikely whistleblower. His espionage method proved brilliantly primitive. When Bettencourt received guests in her Neuilly mansion's private office, she would request refreshments, as she had for 20 years. Bonnefoy would enter with his silver tray, place it carefully on the table, then position his cheap recorder on the bureau, covering it with a piece of black felt that rendered it invisible to eyes accustomed to luxury. Security companies had swept the house for sophisticated microphones, but nobody suspected the butler's Radio Shack special. 21 hours of conversation eventually filled 28 CD-ROMs, capturing Liliane Bettencourt with her inner circle: wealth manager Patrice de Maistre, solicitor Jean-Michel Normand, and François-Marie Banier in their unguarded moments. The recordings revealed financial crime that reached into the Élysée Palace itself, exposing a web of corruption that made previous French scandals look quaint. Conversations about 78 million euros hidden in Swiss accounts mingled with evidence of money laundering and influence peddling at the highest levels. In one devastating exchange, de Maistre reminded Bettencourt she had given Banier an island in the Seychelles, to which she responded with genuine confusion: "Oh, I wanted to buy him an island." Another recording captured her exhaustion with her supposed best friend. "He's someone I like very much. He's very intelligent, but He's killing me. He's becoming too demanding. Give me this, give me that. The nuclear revelation concerned Nicolas Sarkozy's 2007 presidential campaign. Claire Thibault, Bettencourt's former accountant, testified that she withdrew €150,000 in cash on January 17, 2007, following de Maistre's explicit instructions to give to Eric Worth. 2 days later, de Maistre met Worth in a cafe near Sarkozy's campaign headquarters, a meeting that appeared in de Maistre's agenda but mysteriously vanished from Worth's official schedule. Judge Jean-Michel Gentil later tracked 2 transfers of €400,000 each from Switzerland, suspecting they illegally financed Sarkozy's path to power. Banier's diary contained an even more damning entry from April 26, 2007. Sarkozy asked for money again, noting Bettencourt's affirmative response. When investigative website Mediapart published the recordings in June 2010, France convulsed. The scandal drove Sarkozy's approval ratings to historical lows and placed him under formal investigation in March 2013 for allegedly abusing Bettencourt's mental weakness, a president potentially facing 3 years in prison. The butler had lit a fuse that would explode not just one family, but an entire system of elite corruption, though mysteriously, offices of journalists investigating the affair would soon suffer coordinated break-ins. Justice arrived wrapped in legal jargon and measured in euros, but no court could calculate the true cost of what had transpired in the Bettencourt mansion. In 2015, a Bordeaux court convicted François-Marie Banier of abuse of weakness, with prosecutor Gérard Aldiger declaring the photographer had imposed his control over her like a spider spinning its web. And once he had her in his net, he never let her go. She became his thing. The initial verdict seemed severe. 3 years in prison with 6 months suspended, a €350,000 fine, and €158 million in damages. A fraction of what he had received, but still a fortune by any measure. 7 others joined Banier in conviction, including wealth manager Patrice de Maistre and his successor Pascal Wilhelm, each receiving 30 months with 12 suspended. Yet the French justice system proved as malleable as Liliane Bettencourt's will. In August 2016, the Bordeaux Court of Appeal transformed Banier's punishment into vapor. 4 years suspended, a €375,000 fine, and crucially, the elimination of all damages. The 94-page decision acknowledged he had perfectly organized the flow of largesse, but dismissed notions of psychological control, suggesting their friendship had brought fantasy to Bettencourt's constrained existence. October 2011 had already delivered Françoise Bettencourt Myers her true victory when a French judge declared her 88-year-old mother mentally incompetent. Medical reports revealed mixed dementia and moderately severe Alzheimer's disease dating back to 2006, years during which Banier had extracted his billions. Control of the €15 billion inheritance passed to Françoise and her sons Jean-Victor and Nicolas, vindicating years of accusations about systematic exploitation. Liliane Bettencourt's death on September 21, 2017, at age 94, closed one chapter while opening another. The world's 14th richest person left behind $44.3 billion and a legacy as tangled as her final years. Her daughter's terse announcement included the word peacefully, a notable choice given the warfare that had consumed the family. Nicolas Sarkozy's reckoning came later through a different door. March 1, 2021, brought France's first conviction of a former president for corruption, not for Bettencourt campaign funds, but for wiretapped conversations about the case. Prosecutors discovered Paul Bismuth phones revealing attempts to bribe a magistrate with a Monaco job for information about the investigation. 1 year in prison, 2 suspended, the court found he had sealed a pact of corruption. Today, Françoise Bettencourt Myers commands $89.6 billion, making her the world's second richest woman after briefly surpassing $100 billion in December 2023. L'Oréal generates €43 billion annually, its brands, Lancôme, Maybelline, Garnier, adorning faces worldwide. The family controls 34% through Tethys Invest, ensuring dynastic continuity. But beneath the corporate success lies an unexamined truth. This vast fortune originated from Eugene Schueler's Nazi collaboration, his profits from supplying paint for German U-boats, his support for Lacagoule's synagogue bombings. Helmut Knoschen, who deported French Jews to death camps, called Schueler a voluntary collaborator. Every euro of Bettencourt wealth carries this stain: Nazi money successfully laundered through 70 years of lipstick and face cream, still flowing through the coffers of the world's largest beauty empire. And now, we'd love to see you in the comments. Were you aware of L'Oréal's dark past? Or is this the first time you've heard about it? We look forward to hearing from you below, and thanks for joining us for another episode of Old Money Luxury.